Welcome back to the show. Yes, I'm so happy to have you with me on this segment of the Tech Zone. What we're going to do here shortly, I'm going to introduce you guys to one of my team members out there. He's a gamer, part of the crew. He's awesome and amazing, has a lot of knowledge. He and I are going to be talking about E3 and our different takes of E3, even though we're about a few weeks from E3. We've had time to let things like marinate in our brain, because when you're there, you're like, oh man, this is nice, this is awesome. But then as time has passed, you can now start to really, look at the glitz and the glamour and get down to the nuts and bolts of things. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to introduce you to one of my team members, UnCarbonated Soda. He's in the house. What's up, guy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Hey, great to have you with me today. And you've been gaming for a while, and I like your takes on a lot of things. And we kind of bounced off our takes about E3. And, I shared mine with you, and even you out there who are listening and watching right now, how I felt that Microsoft kind of underwhelmed. And that's just my opinion right there. But UnCarbonated Soda, what was your take of Microsoft and some of the things that they did at E3?
Well, I know last year they touted that they had the greatest games lineup of Xbox history. And so last year they showed off a lot of games. And so knowing the development cycle of how long it takes to make games, I think is just natural after that. They didn't have so many. But I feel like to kind of use as filler, they did a lot of hardware innovation, talking about where they're going. They announced the Project Scorpio, which is going to do VR. But at the same time, it felt like they were rehashing a lot of stuff that's already announced.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And not only the Project Scorpio, but the Xbox One S, the slim down version of the new Xbox that they have. They talked about how you can what do you call it, accessorize your game controller now. Over 3 million colors, you can do this. Yeah. So what's your favorite color, UnCarbonated Soda? If you had to make your ultimate gaming stick, your joystick, what would it be?
Probably black with red thumbsticks and some red LEDs on it, something like that.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And you're spot on, because last year I remember at the Xbox press conference, they talked about Forza, and they had this Lamborghini coming from the actual ceiling of the Galen Center. We were like, oh wow, this is awesome, it's amazing. And then when they talked about Minecraft with the Oculus, and we were like, oh, this is going to be awesome. So we get there 2016. It's a lot of, nerd geek stuff, that we understand. Like, okay, we understand you got to have good hardware. You have to do this, you have to do that. And it kind of made sense as I look back, even though I said they underwhelmed in my opinion. As I look back, the developer in me see that they had to do it, because they're about to be left behind if they don't let people know about these different consoles that be able to have VR, and I'm glad that they did that looking forward. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I think it was really smart of them to look to the future, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. I feel like there are a lot of game announcements that were probably left out that are waiting in the wings for it to actually be up and running. But I'm really excited to see how it works, because the Scorpio is actually going to have the power to drive the PC headsets like the Oculus and the Vive, instead of like an in-house headset.
Yeah, and that's going to be cool. And then that takes us to Sony's press conference, PlayStation. And, when I saw this right there, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool right here. The PlayStation VR, it's going to come out October 13th. Now, you had an actual opportunity to demo this recently. Give me your take about it.
Yeah, Best Buy and GameStop are doing demos now. You can walk in on the weekends and try them. You have to go to PlayStation's website to find out when they're by you. But it was a lot better than I thought. I know that the PC headsets are on a whole nother level. But as far as consumer-friendly VR, the PlayStation VR is way cheaper than getting an Oculus setup or whatever. And it was an acceptable quality. Like, I was genuinely surprised by how good it was. It was better than I thought.
Have you had a chance to check out the Vive? the
Not
HTC?
personally, not yet.
And one of the things that we see these different consoles marrying this VR together now. You have to have the technology to do it, and that took us to what we're talking about with Xbox Project Scorpio, how they're really taking time to try to get it right. Do you think that these other gaming consoles are rushing to judgment, as we may say, when it comes to VR, and they're going to have a few glitches? What do you think?
I'm not entirely sure. I know I've read from like Andy McNamara from the editor-in-chief of Game Informer. He is saying that there's a few problems with both the Oculus and the Vive with games freezing up on the PC. So it'll be interesting to see if those carry over to the consoles. And I'm not sure if Sony's going to have the same kind of problems that maybe the Oculus and the Vive is. Since they have their own in-house headset, they might be able to marry it a little bit better.
And what was kind of your highlight of the PlayStation press conference? The way they opened up was pretty theatrical, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was very theatrical to have a live orchestra with opera singers. That was really cool. I'd say it's just really cool to see them having a lot of games. I thought it was really nice how they kind of let the games speak for themselves instead of having someone hype it up before every game. They kind of just went into the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And one of the highlights for me was when I saw this guy on stage right here, Hideo Kojima. I was like, well, because remember in December on Twitter, he put it out there how his contract with Konami was terminated, and everybody was wondering, okay, what's going to happen? What's he going to do? Well, he starts his own production. He starts doing things for PlayStation, and I think that really had everybody just pumped up when they saw him, John.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kojima, I'm a big fan of his. He tells amazing stories. They're a bit hard to follow, but they're really good at playing on your emotions. And so I thought it was really cool to see him come out as his own man, because now he's going to be able to do whatever he wants instead of having to listen to a publisher.
Yeah, and sometimes publishers forget what made them great, and the talent makes the publishers great. And sometimes they get a little bit too big for their britches, and that's a term you probably don't know because you're young, but I'm sure your folks would know that. But and it's good to see him bounce back, because I've been there before where you're a part of an organization. And then out of the blue, it's like, okay, you're not needed no more. We're going to switch reels. But it's good to see that he had enough, friends in the industry that say, hey, you keep on going, you keep on doing things. And I think he's really going to blow up in the gaming industry.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see what comes out of him. I know in some interviews he's talked about his new game, Death Stranding. He's saying that he wants to make a new genre. So I'm really excited to see where he takes it and how it ends up happening.
Yeah, and when it comes to PlayStation, they even talked about the new Spider-Man, the Spider-Man game coming out. And one thing too that I think they really are going to corner the market, especially when it comes to VR with the PlayStation VR, and that's the Battlefront. When we saw the Star Wars Battlefront trailer at the press conference, we were like, wow, you can be in an X-Wing fighter. It's like you're sitting in with Hack and everybody, and you're getting ready to blow up the Death Star. And I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be amazing. And what do you think about where we're going with VR and AVR as far as gaming is concerned? Do you think that it's going to encourage more people to game, or what do you think the hardcore gamers of the past who are used to the joystick and the keyboard or the consoles, what do you think about that?
I know there's people on both sides. I know people that are super excited, I'm myself included. I really think it's going to revolutionize not just video games, but how we do everything entertainment related. There's partnerships with IMAX going with VR and AR stuff. But I also know people who say that they just want to still use a TV and stuff. Like, they don't want to be that immersed in their entertainment. So I think everybody has their own thing, but I think it will be just kind of like how when TV came out, everybody was blown away by it. So once I think everybody sees how good it is, I think it'll really take off.
Well said. And I remember I was talking to one of my friends at the Consumer Technology Association, and I was like, are we going to see like the Total Recall days when people don't want to come out of the VR. They want to stay in the VR and not come out. Are they going to use that as their new reality? That's one of the things we're going to really find out what's going to happen when it comes to VR. But what really impressed me at E3 was Ubisoft. I was thoroughly impressed with them. They turned 30 this year, is their 30th anniversary, and they came out swinging. We know that the franchise of Assassin's Creed is now going into the movie theater, so they talked about that a little bit. But they also debuted their Star Trek VR game. And when we saw this trailer, we were like, wow, this is awesome. So imagine UnCarbonated soda, me and you on the crew and the bridge of a starship. Of course, I'm the captain, and and you're the tactical officer, and we can have like 3 other people join us in that endeavor. That's pretty cool. What would you take about the Star Trek VR?
It's really cool to see, like, going again with VR. It's going to really enable you to experience things that you couldn't experience before, a whole new level of intensity. And so with Star Trek, it's going to be really cool because I don't think that's something that would have ever worked before with a controller and joysticks. That's something that kind of has to be in VR,
And you know what? LeVar Burton, he's the one who played Geordi LaForge in Star Trek TNG, The Next Generation. And he was there, and he was talking about virtual reality has made the technology there so that this would be available out there, kind of like what you were talking about. So, when we look at this right here, I mean, this is going to open up gaming to people who may have never thought that they would be gamers, just because they like Star Trek and they want to be like Captain Picard or Captain Kirk or Captain Pike or Captain Sisko, and for the female captains out there, Captain Janeway, so this is going to be pretty awesome out there. And another thing that impressed me of Ubisoft, they was talking about the game called Watchdog, and we were able to see some of the demo play of this. And what really impressed me about this game is that they are now taking the time when it comes to soundtracks of gaming, because when you're playing the game and you have a song that you're familiar with or a song that keeps you going, it kind of enhances the gameplay. Now it feels like that you are in an interactive movie and you are one of the cast in the movie. What do you think about the soundtracks?
Yeah, it's really cool to see more time being put into like the little details, like soundtracks, because it's a big deal. It can be kind of game breaking if there's something that doesn't fit like that. And so it's really cool to see them put more detail into things like soundtrack, because like you said, if you're hearing a song that you're like, oh, cool, I know this, and so it feels more real.
Yeah, because when we were watching the demo of Watchdog, they had a rap group, Eric B. and Rakim, and they came out like in the 80s, and that was during my time, and it took me to nostalgia. I'm like, I remember that song. I bought the album when I was like 15, 16, 17, and it made sense to me. I was like, yeah, this is cool. And even though I don't necessarily like the game, but the soundtrack was like, wow, this is pretty cool. It made me intrigued when it comes to the soundtrack. And what impressed you as far as Nintendo was concerned? Some of the things that Nintendo is coming out of E3.
Well, I know that they showed off a quite lengthy gameplay demo of Zelda, so I think that was kind of long overdue for them because they had been kind of teasing it for a while now. So it's cool to see them show enough of it to know, like, okay, this is concrete and it's coming out, and then to know that they're not going to leave the Wii U people behind, because I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that originally they were planning on it only coming out on the NX. So if it's coming out on the Wii U now, it's going to be cool for all the people who bought the Wii U just for a Zelda game, that they're not going to be left behind for it now.
That is so true, so true. And what about PC gaming out there? Are we starting to see like more PC gamers going to consoles? Or are we seeing console gamers now going to PC gaming? I know right now some of the hot titles out there is Elders of the Lost Scroll. One of my guys who works at the radio station with me, he loves that game and he strictly plays on his laptop. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Sean. Yes, but are we starting to see people a divide when it comes to gaming? Because I know the PC Gaming Show, we went to their press conference and they talked about a lot of titles for PC gaming. So are we starting to see a jump in PC gaming now over console gaming?
Well, I was a pretty hardcore PC player for quite a while, and I think there's always going to be a set of people who love the PC because there's just certain things you can do on PCs that you can't do on consoles. And I don't think you'll ever be able to quite emulate a PC, but I think we will see a little bit maybe of a diminishing in PC players jumping over to consoles, because one of the things that's held people back is that the consoles have never been up to par with the quality that PCs can provide. And sure, they might not be able to hold up to that, but with the new consoles coming out playing games at 4K, it's kind of like, how much more do you really need, you know?
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's why we're seeing 4K displays a lot cheaper now. A lot of people can use their PCs now and plug their monitor into a 4K display, and they can get 4K gaming. And even on the gaming console side too. And if you haven't played a game in 4K, and I'm talking to some of our viewers and listeners out there, if you have not played or seen a game in 4K, you have not seen gaming the way it's supposed to be. I got a chance to see a few demos of it, of a new Star Trek game that's out now for PC that's going to be released on PlayStation and also Xbox. And they had it on a 4K display. And you're talking about something that would just blow your socks off. It can. And that enhances the gaming, because displays means a lot, doesn't it? Uncarbonated. So, you know, you can't have like something like a small dinky display and get the full impact of a game, can you?
No, playing a game, I feel like, is supposed to be immersive. If you're sitting there with like a 10-inch 480p screen, it's not going to be the same as if you're playing on like a HD screen, you know? Like playing a game, you're trying to escape. And so I think it's important that you have something that's able to bring you into the experience.
That is so true. So true. So before I let you go and relieve you of your duties, officer, tell me some more things that kind of, you know, stood out in your mind from E3 that you want to share out there, you know, something that really got you excited and got you pumped up.
I think something that's come out since E3 that's been pretty cool is the Xbox One S. Originally, I wasn't that stoked about it, but AMD, the people who make the chips that's going to go into it, they announced a couple of days ago that on the Xbox One S, which is only $300, you're going to be able to upscale every single game you play on it up to 4K on an Xbox already. And I was expecting to have to wait till the end of next year for the Scorpio to come out to do that. So I think that's really cool. And then I'm just really excited for VR in general to see how this all goes out, because I think it's the future. I'm a believer. So I'm really excited for both of those things.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think VR is the next domino to drop in this technological world, especially when it comes to gaming, when it comes to watching TV. You know, I just can't wait till, you know, we're able to sit with our VR, you know, goggles on and watching some TV, watching the new Star Wars movie. Can you believe that? Watching that in VR, you'll be like, oh, wow. Here come the lightsaber. Here come this. Oh, here goes Chewie. You know, we'll have a lot.
Exactly.
Have a lot of fun out there. But hey, Uncarbonated Soda, great having you on with us. And we look forward to chatting with you some more here on the Tech Zone. Future shows, and take care of yourself, and you keep on gaming, my friend. And let me know when you get that PlayStation VR, because I'll borrow it for a few days, okay?
No worries, dude, for sure. Thank you for having me.
That was my Tech Zone gamer, Uncarbonated Soda, for joining me. We'd like to thank him and also Tony Polanco for joining me on this edition of the Tech Zone. And if you notice, two different opinions when it comes to virtual reality. We have Tony Polanco's concerns about it, and I think it's everybody's concern. And we also have Uncarbonated Soda's take when it comes to VR. So history would tell where we're at in VR. But again, thank you guys so much for joining me here on the Tech Show. And again, let's remember those who were affected by the tragic events that happened in Louisiana, that happened in Dallas, and that happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's remember them in our thoughts and prayers. And remember, be good to yourself, love everyone, and have a great day. Till next time.